Hello everyone. I just wanted to start off a new series on my old manual cameras. I've got a few here, I've got some upstairs. This is one of the ones I've used the most often, and I want to explain to you how they work because it's a lost art. Most of us now aren't even using regular cameras, we're using phones. You just hold it up, point and shoot, it does everything for you. There's some settings you can play around with, that's true, but most people just snap photos and that's it. But there is an art to this, and back in the day when we actually used film, this stuff here, okay, film cameras, we had to set a lot of the stuff manually. This gear that you see in front of me is probably from the late 60s, early 70s, and I used it all the way through to the 90s. This body here is the same as what's in here, except it's a little bit more aged, and there's some issues with it. But this one works perfectly fine. So we'll start off just by reviewing the camera components and how things worked, and then I'll go into actually how to use them. So in here, first of all, what is this that we're looking at? It says some stuff that looks like Greek letters up here, but that's actually Russian. It's called Zenit. Zenit was, I believe, a copy of the Pentax cameras. After the war, Russia took over a lot of technology from Germany that they were able to take, and they copied the Pentax. And so what you have here is a camera that has a lens that you can remove. Okay, this is a removable lens. It's called the Pentax screw mount because they were all basically screwed on. Later, the bayonet mounts would be developed that would go in and turn, and then you turn like that. This was just screwed in. And so you have a lot of interchangeable lenses. Now, you take it for granted today that you can do a lot of stuff with your phone, but back in the day, you either have a lens that had a specific angle, okay? So this is, I believe, a 28 millimeter lens, okay? And that essentially is wide, okay? Some lenses, like this one here, what does it say in there? 58 millimeter. So it's going to be not as good for interior shots. This is a nice wide angle, almost fisheye. I mean, 28 is getting up there. 58 is a little bit more portrait size. And then you've got this monster here, which is a zoom lens. So it goes from 60, which is almost a 58, which is like room type of thing, to 135 millimeters. So when you zoom this thing to 135 here, okay, it really, zooms in and you can see things up close. It's like a telescope. And you even have a hood here that slides over this for extra protection from the sun. Everything, of course, made in Japan. It's all, quality stuff back in the day that cost a lot of money. So we have our lens, we have the body. Okay, now how do these things work? Because many of you have never seen a film camera before. I'm going to remove this from the case. Okay, how do they work? First of all, film goes in here. Okay, let's actually, before we load up the film, I want to show you how it works, and I'll put this in B mode. So B basically is bulb. It lets me activate the shutter, okay, and keep it open, okay? So this is called the single lens reflex. So what happens is light goes through the lens, which of course would be, one of these guys screwed onto the surface, onto the outside here, go through the lens, it would pass through, hit that mirror that you see there that's at a 45-degree angle, bounce up into that thing, bounce off another prism here, and come out here. So that's the viewfinder, okay? So it was a through the lens camera, meaning that what you see is what you got, okay? Let's put this lens on and you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, so we put this on and now we look through this hole here, okay? And there's our scene, okay? I can focus in on it. Okay, that's what we saw. And Here I'm focusing. Okay, that would be it. So you're basically, you shoot, you put your eye up here, you look through, you see exactly what you want to shoot. Okay, however, at the time that you need to take the picture, obviously light has to get to the film. The film would be spread across the back here, across like this. So if we take our old film canister here, just to show you before I load it, it would be spread across like this, and that would run across like this. Sorry, I have the emulsion the wrong way, but it doesn't matter. You get the idea. Film would be spread across here. Light had to somehow make it through and come through this screen here and hit the film. And so this is the way it works. You'd wind it up, that would advance to the next frame. You hit the button. You saw it opened very briefly and light went through. Now at the same time, what would happen is that mirror went up. Okay, now if I put it, I'm gonna put it to a setting here which allows me to show it. I just have to find the right one here. It doesn't always engage for some strange reason. I think I have to go around this way. That's what, 500? Okay, these are shutter speeds. So I'm trying to get to the one where if I hold it down, it stays open. There you go. Okay. This camera's a little weird, but so when I hold down this button, okay, notice what happened. The screen opened. I can see right through the camera. My mirror, which is here, flipped up, and it's now going to drop. Okay, let's look at it through the other side. You're going to notice the same thing. I'm winding the film, hit the button, mirror just flipped up. See? That little guy there, I can see right through. See? Light goes right through here, and then it drops. Now when you change the shutter speed, that is the speed at which you want to capture light. These are in hundredth of a second, or 60, 1/60th, 125. Sorry, again, something's up with this thing. It's finicky. Okay, that's 500. See where the line is right there? 500. So at 500th of a second, 1/500 is extremely fast. See if you can catch this. Okay, that was very, very quickly. See? Okay, and that would essentially capture light on the film. The film would then be advanced and you take your next shot. Now, let me show you how these things were loaded. This was another, interesting phenomenon. You basically put this film in here and try to have it grab one of the notches. Sorry, it's hard to do this. Grab a notch in there. This would, of course, go across here, and you'd open this up. Keep in mind that, okay, there, okay, and you'd close it. And that would be, you'd set this to 0 over here, like that. And this particular roll of film has 25 shots, and you just advance it like this. Sorry, I'm gonna drop that in there again. Take a picture, advance, take a picture, advance, take a picture, right? And so on. And if you open this up, there's your film. You can see it moving forward out of the canister, 1 frame at a time. Then you shoot your picture, 1 frame at a time, and so on, right? If you open it up here, let's put it back to bulb so I can keep the thing open. Sorry, again, this thing is a little wonky. Doesn't let me do it, it seems. It's moving around on me. Come on. Yeah, hold on a second. Okay, it's on B now. For some reason, it's not showing up there. Okay, watch. When I press it, it's open. And right down in there, as you can see, is the film. Okay, that is the film. See? I'm pressing my finger on it here. And I let go. the mirror drops back, and there you have it. Okay, so that's your simple basic operation. You see this thing advanced a bit. The arrow is now pointing at 25. If I keep doing this, you'll see it's moving over. Now it's at like 27, 28. So this would give you a rough indication of the number of frames that you've shot. Obviously, you get to the end of this thing, of the roll. This is 24, and it would stop. And then what you do, you'd flip this over to reverse. Over here, there's an R with an arrow, and you'd be able to now rewind your film with this thing. And that's how you get your film out. You got to be careful not to open up the camera when the film is not wound all the way up into its canister. Otherwise, all of your photos would be gone. And on top of that, not only that, but you would basically, you wouldn't even know what kind of pictures you took until you went and developed it. So you'd basically have your whole vacation on one of these, and then you'd have no idea if anything actually even worked. You might have lost every single picture you thought you took that was great because some mechanical issue or the film ripped or who knows what. Like it was a guesswork. But if you had a good camera, you took consistently, good pictures, you know what you're doing, it would be much better. Film canisters later also developed these little markings. You can see some black areas and silver, so your camera would know what kind of film you put in. They'd have little sensors that would detect that. This happens to be 200 ISO, 24 frame. That's how long this canister, how many pictures are on it. 35 millimeter color print film. Okay. And you would set that on the camera because it's important for the light settings. So we'll talk about that later. But up here, you see ASA and DIN. So you'd set this on your camera to 200. Over here, you can see in that window there, it says 200, 400, 100. And then from that, you would be able to control your light settings and aperture settings and everything else, and shutter speed. We'll get into that in a later film. But basically, that's an old traditional Pentax screw mount body. Another body here, we're going to talk about the differences between these two, and we'll also talk about lenses, various kind of conversion lenses, and interestingly also some of the other features of the lenses, like this pin. What does this pin do? Okay. And what are all these numbers that we're looking at on these lenses? Lots of fascinating stuff coming up. So thanks again for watching this quick intro and looking forward to more. Bye for now.